Porsche Boxster, going to be going to Le Mans this year in that, which is in June, so just want to get that back on the road. I think for a while. There's a couple of jobs on this to look at. There's the header tank to replace and the front suspension lower arms. I think there's a bit of play in them, so I want to try and fix that. So decided make a start on it. It's March now, it'll soon be June. So battery was flat, I haven't run it for a while, and then I've got the problem where the header tank has been leaking. Now I've been putting this off for a while, but you can see the coolant here, it's been leaking in the boot for a while. It's split, seems to have a leak down here, and it's split underneath there. You can't quite see, but they go brittle over time, so I'm going to have a job replacing this. So I'm going to turn the car around in the garage, so I've got more access to that side. I think I've got to get the hood open, I've got to get through from the inside as well, so I'll do that on this episode and show you how to replace the coolant header tank on a Porsche Boxster. This is my replacement tank. Picked this up from a Porsche Breakers, £30, pretty reasonable. It's got the same part number on it. It's out of an 03 Porsche, version 9, I think mine's version 4, so there's a bit of an upgrade on it. I believe it's here where they split underneath, in the middle they go brittle here and leak. So let's see what we can do and get that changed out. So I'm going to be replacing a header tank on a 2000 Porsche Boxster. Now the header tank is obviously located in the rear in the boot there, and the telltale signs really that you need to replace in it. The obvious thing is obviously coolant in the boot floor, which I've got here, but it's sort of started that you get this sort of sweet, sickly smell in the cab, this aroma of antifreeze, and you can't quite place your finger on it. In the case of this one, it wasn't leaking on the floor, wasn't bad enough that it was leaking through this drain hole here, but it was enough that it would sort of sit in the boot here, you can see it. And it needs, it's split down below under here, and it's all wet under there, and it needs replacing. So the tank has to come out. Now I've got a second-hand tank from a breaker's yard to put in. It would appear a simple job, but it's not. It would appear that you'd undo these hoses on this bulkhead fitting here, and then you can take it out, but it's not as simple as that, because the top pipe is all moulded in to one. So you actually have to take the whole lot out, including that manifold, undoing these bolts here, and undo the clips on the inside of the boot. And if you show you my replacement on the floor, you can see that it comes, basically you've got to get to this point so you can take off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fittings from the engine side. There lies the next problem, that you've got to get access into the engine bay through there. So I'm going to show you how to get into the engine bay first of all, to expose the engine. So in order to get access to the engine, the first thing you want to do is open the hood about 4 inches at the front here to get this at about the highest point it's going to be. Then what we need to do is undo the hood, undo the roof, to try and get this portion of the roof folded up out of the way. So what you've got to do is take these catches off down it. You can see like a little ball and socket there, so there's one of those either side. They just pull off like that, so you can see that's come off there. So I'll do the one on the other side and then I'll be back to you. Now you've got those undone, there's 2 clips here that need undoing, which are just pushed off. So it's just pushed off like that. The same on the other side. So you can now lift the the lower section of the roof up out the way. So that's got that up out the way. But of course we're still not at the engine. You need this taking up, which needs a little spring clip taking off on here, and this needs locking up out the way, and the same on that side. So we're going to do that now. The clip that you need to take off is this lower one here, and then the whole rear canopy can lift forwards. Bit fiddly to get in. You've got to basically prise the front up and push the clip off like that. So once you've got the clip off, you can then slot this, take this off there, or at least that's the theory. There, so that's that off. Just rest it on there and hold it up. Just do the same on the other side. And the whole lot will lift forwards. We've got a lot more room now. What you can do, you can put there's a hole here where you can just put a little peg through, and basically this will prevent the top falling down. So I'm just going to put this peg in here. Bit awkward with a lack of hands. So that's held up now, so that won't fall down on us. So we've now got access there. What we're going to do, I've got a little box on the top, so you can take this box off, take this carpet off, and we're getting a little bit nearer the engine. So now we're getting a little bit nearer. We're still not quite there, so what we're going to do is undo. Mine had this box on here, which is like a little glove box or a rear parcel box, whatever you want to call it. But normally you'd have a fixings here to undo, and here, and the same over there. So we just undo these 4 quarter turn. Is it quarter turn or is it 90-degree turn? Let's have a look. 90-degree turn, and then these will lift off. So that's the carpet off and the soundproofing. However, we're still not at the engine. What we've got to do now is remove this cover. These are, again, 180 turn, so there's 5 clips to remove. And that now should be exposing the engine. So there we go, access to the engine. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to put the camera down, because what I don't want to do is scratch my car while I'm lifting this off, so just bear with me. So there we go, cover off, access to the engine. I'd be amazed if that cover's actually ever been off. Well, it's obviously been off while it's been serviced by the Porsche dealership, but it's pretty dirty, so I think we're going to do a bit of a clean-up exercise in there, and the bit we're trying to get to is still right under there. That's going to be fun. Let's find the light. So the other side of the bulkhead fittings are down here. Whoa, that is serious tight access. That is going to be fun. Not. Got the best bed sheets in place to just protect, give the wing a bit of protection. we're going to look at getting the tank out. Now the tank itself is fairly easy to do, in that this is held in place with 2 bolts. So one there at the top, one there at the bottom, and on this bulkhead fitting there's one at the top there and one at the bottom down there. So that's the easy bit, 4 bolts to undo. We've then got to try and pull this whole assembly forwards to then try and get to these clips on the back, and I've got a special tool like a remote plier remover which I'll show you in a minute to get to them. And we've got a light in here now. You can see it's pretty hard to get to. We're trying to get to those bulkhead fittings there on that clip, and I think I've spotted a bit of an oil leak from this top pipe as well, so that's something else we're going to have a look at while we're in here. And I've also taken the air filter out so we can change the air filter as well. So let me get the 4 bolts off on here and see what that does to actually give us access to get the tank to start to move. Right, so I've got the tank unbolted now, so the fixings are out at the bottom and the top and out the bulkhead. So basically it's actually loose and will pull forward a little bit. Don't forget the electrical connection at the bottom there, so we can get it a little bit of movement on it. And now we've got to try and get to the clips. Now what I've done, I took a pipe off from here to here, which is that pipe up there. I think that's this is obviously crank breather, so it's just putting it back into the inlet there. So I've took that out of the way. This, I'm going to work my way down with the hoses. So as we said, I think there was 5 hoses we need to disconnect. So we'll start with the top one, which is the oil filler. So I'm actually going to split it there, which will hopefully give you a little bit more room to pull it forward. Now, I'm told this is the magical tool that you need. Some long reach hose clamps. So let's have a look at these and see if these are going to do the job for us. These are the pliers. So you can see basically you squeeze the pliers and the clips are on the end there. We'll pull in, and there's a ratchet so it holds it, and there's a little thumb guard there to release. So that's it fully released, that's it pulled. So let's give this a go and see how it works. So just a quick look at the replacement tank again. We've got 5 hoses to disconnect. The top one's an oil filler, and the other 3 are all to do with the other 4 are all to do with the coolant. And there seems to be a mix of fixings underneath. Usually they're all the sort of spring-loaded Jubilee clip. However, bizarrely, the top hose is simply it's this one here, the top small hose, and it's basically one of these ones where you just squeeze the sides together and it disconnects. You know, it'd have been fantastic if all the other hoses had been on the same one, but obviously there's a reason why they can't be. So what we have managed to do is gain a little bit of access by pulling this forwards. Now we've got the oil hose disconnected, and you can just start to see the clips at the back there. So I'm going to have to try and pull this forward a bit more and see what clips I can get undone. So I've got 2 of the 5 hoses undone. Tank is out. Was it as bad a job as what I thought or what I'd read on the internet? No. Wasn't too bad. Was it fiddly? Yes. Was access difficult? Yes. Could we do it? Yes. Right, I think what I did different to what I'd read from other people have done, took the oil hose off here and I've left it on the actual tank. Haven't bothered disconnecting it down here, did it here. One of the connections was here, was a quick release, so that was easy. And did I need this tool? Yes. That was a bit of a godsend for getting 2 of the fixings off. Now if you remember, I said there was 5 outlets. So if we just have a look, here we've got the oil, coolant. Now how I've removed it from the car, I've left the oil pipe on. As I said, I disconnected at this end. so I've left that on. This top one was a quick release, which was basically just squeezing these and it released, so that was good. This one didn't need to come off. This is a drain just stuck down the chassis, so that didn't need to come off. So the only two clips I had to take off with these special pliers was this one here and this one here, and they came off fairly easy. The biggest problem was the fact that the pipe was aluminium and had corroded into there and it had made itself a nice seal, so it just needed a bit of a tweak and a wiggle to come out. So what I'm going to do now is transfer these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pipes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pipes over onto this one, so get this one ready to put in. You can see the difference in the quality. This is a nice white plastic, not discoloured, where this one you can see has gone quite yellow. And I'm going to tip the coolant out and have a look underneath just to satisfy myself, but I think we'll find a nice big crack in it. The hose is over. There's 5 hoses I've swapped over one at a time. Just took them off the old tank, put them onto the new tank one at a time. Just got the orientation the same, put the clips back on. I'd advise, if you can, try and use the spring-loaded clips. They get the correct tension on the hose. I had read somewhere else on YouTube people have been replacing them with Jubilee clips. Problem with the Jubilee clips are you can over tighten them, you don't get an even pull on the hose all the way around, and you can cause future problems. So got the 5 hoses in place there. It's a case now getting the tank back in and a reversal of the removal process. And again, another shot there, a nice clean white new tank. Well, new to me I should say, and the old tank. And you can actually see, I think that is a stress crack there. Probably opens up when it's, let's get it to focus. Come on, focus. I think that is the crack that you can just see there, which will be when it gets warm. It's gonna, yeah, I can actually feel the physical crack there. So that's where it's been leaking from. So this should be an end of smelling antifreeze in the cab, which I'll be pleased about. The tank is back in now. Got the fixings down here in, so there's one fixing here, one fixing at the top in there, and 2 of these fixings, one here and one here on the bulkhead, and there's an electrical connection. So that's everything connected under here. Finished. Just got to put the radiator cap on now. Something to note on the radiator cap, there's 2 different versions of it. Well, there's more than 2 versions. Now the part number you can see is 996 106 44704. Now the part number's the same on this one. However, at the end this is 01 and this is 04. And I did read something on the internet a while ago that the 4 at the end, really, the part number is the first part, the 4 is sort of the series, so this is this is the 4th series, this is the first one. And the first one, they did have problems with them leaking, and that could be your first course, first thing to look at if you've got a smell of coolant, and you'll see there'll be coolant leaking round here. So I had tried that first of all, and it didn't make any difference. So this one had come on the new radiator tank I'd bought today from the breaker's yard, and this is my original one. So I'm going to put the 04 one on, and the 01, well, we all know where that's going to go. It's going to go there, so it never gets used. Right, so what I'm going to do now, put the radiator cap on. Obviously I've no coolant in it yet, and I'm going to pick that up tomorrow. So it's all back together now. Not as bad a job as what I thought, really. As I say, 5 hoses down here to put on, 4 bolts at the back here. Not bad, really. What I'm going to do now, I need to get some coolant tomorrow so I can run it up, see how it runs, make sure there's no leaks. So I'm going to leave all the boot liner out and all the trim. I'm going to leave the engine open and have a look. There was one other thing I noticed, which is the power steering, which is this here. That was a little bit low, so I'm going to get some power steering oil and top that up, and I'm going to pick some service parts up tomorrow with an air filter, oil filter, and do a service, and that's it. So until tomorrow, thanks for watching. it's all back together now. Had it up and running, had it up to temperature, all seems okay. All the hoses are back in here, everything's running, there's no leaks anywhere, so probably not a bad job really. Took about 4.5 hours all in, and yeah, it's all ready to go now. So I'm just going to put the trim back in, put the hood down, get the hood down, get the engine cover on, and then go for a test run, see how it runs.